In a previous interview, you talked about struggling throughout the season. So what changed and how are you able to turn the page so that the end of the season went a lot better?
At the start of the 2024 season, Lexie Hull appeared to be about to fade from the WNBA spotlight. In 2022, this was the 6th overall selection. A player who resembled a future franchise star and formerly dominated at Stanford. However, under former coach Christy Sides, she was buried at the end of the bench and passed by role players in the rotation, spending more time gathering splinters than playing. The murmurs became more intense. Would Hull actually fulfill her promise? Or did she have to disappear into the realm of draft buses?
You have basketball in your genes. Your grandfather played basketball, your dad, and you have a twin sister who you played basketball with growing up. What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age. But my parents were, super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah, we grew up, my sister and I, playing a little bit of everything.
Talent. Caitlin Clark did more than simply join the Fever. She changed them. Her arrival completely changed the franchise's identity rather than weakening the lineup. She was lightning in trainers, and everything she had hunched over her like a weight. The offensive took shape as soon as Clark stepped foot in Indiana. Every player's path changed as the chemistry blossomed. This was more than just a new teammate for Lexie Hull. It served as a lifeline. Dropping Lexie show in the comments is a great way to express your affection for her. Come on.
It was important to get to know her off the court because I do think that, connections, getting to know people really play a part in
conversation about sports and the dunker spot. She also didn't mince words. She revealed what had actually changed in that changing room. How Clark's entrance fundamentally altered her professional trajectory and ignited the Fever's transition from a floundering organization into one of the most fascinating tales in basketball history. This goes beyond the return of a single player. It concerns leadership, repentance, and a cultural change that may influence the Indiana Fever's very future.
Called the clutch player by WNBA fans, and she was drafted to the W in 2022 with the Indiana Fever in the first round as the 6th pick. I'm talking about professional basketball player Lexie.
To earn a slot in the regular rotation. Instead, Hull sat on the sidelines with a towel over her shoulders as players with half her upside, like Katie Lou Samuelson and Christy Wallace, took her minutes.
The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player likely from their high school team. So it's just this mishmash of the best basketball players, and then you're playing against people that have been there for years and years.
That sting was very painful. It was more than just a physical setback to go from being a Stanford standout to sitting on the bench in Indiana. Climbing the mental mountain was a challenge.
We're just sick that we had lost so many games and also feeling like we were better than.
The Fever had a terrible 1-8 start to the season and were in free decline. Indianapolis supporters were looking for answers after the difficult start, but none appeared to be forthcoming. We felt like we were better than that, and we were just sick of losing so many games. There was no synergy visible, bad rotations, a feeble defense, and a barrage of negative headlines. The pressure inside the changing area was oppressive. As the entire ship appeared to sink around her, Hull struggled with her own concerns from the bench.
My role is just getting to the open spots, and we have such a good offense that people find the open person. So to be that open person, you get excited. You get excited for the opportunity to shoot and score and be part of the
However, Hull would not let the tale stop there. She doubled down on the grind instead of folding, tightening her jumper, honing her cuts, and remaining focused for whatever opportunity she could get. She relied on her teammates' support throughout it all. They recognized her ability even when the box score didn't. That conviction served as her motivation.
What's it like playing off of Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston?
I mean, they make my job really easy, right? It's awesome. And it's really cool to see all of them just grow, not only from this year, but playing 3 years with Kelsey, 2 years with Aaliyah. they're so impressive.
Everything changed when Clark arrived. It seemed as though the lights had suddenly turned back on as soon as Caitlin entered the locker area. Practices were lively once more. Arenas began to fill up, and Indiana ceased to be the league's joke. It turned into a must-see performance. Everyone around Clark had to catch up to her because of her fierceness, determination, and competitive spirit. And we practice against guys, and if they're not winning, Caitlin will do whatever it takes to push them to compete, she explained, laughing as Paul chuckled. It's not only energy, either. It's an entirely different picture.
I think it's really fun because they garner so much attention, obviously, from the other team's defense. So then it allows the other players, me included, to make cuts, make reads, and they're really good at finding, those openings and giving the ball up when it's needed and finding the better shot. So it's really fun, and I feel really lucky to get to play with them.
In addition to her star power, Clark had a basketball-savvy mind that was effective and forward-thinking. Like an experienced quarterback, she studied defenses and slipped passes into openings that her teammates were unaware existed. It was eye-opening for Hull. She was suddenly open to scoring opportunities she had never had before. Hull acknowledged, "She's making passes I didn't think were possible." Like a magnet, Clark's presence drew defenders in, and her vision tore them apart, opening doors for players all over the court. The offense of the Fever was no longer stalled. It was flourishing.
I definitely got passes and tried to finish when I wasn't expecting to get the ball. So now it's okay, every cut I have, every cut I make, every fast break I run, I have a real opportunity to get the ball, which definitely took me a second. And I think it really just took one of those to really get my head around oh, she's all the way down at the other end of the floor and she could still make the pass to me down at the block at this end. So, it's
knowing that you're not just cutting to cut is a lot of fun. Being aware that you're sacrificing the chance to actually execute a truly amazing play. That makes it even more valuable, I guess. Clark had a contagious fire. A belief that had not before existed was sparked by her competitive edge, which spread throughout the roster. Players who had previously doubted their abilities suddenly felt as though they could compete with anyone. In addition to delivering scores, the rookie exuded confidence. That meant the world to Hull. In a single forceful sweep, Clark's maturity and leadership immediately clicked, boosting team morale and output.
It's so fun to be able to know that you're not just cutting to cut, knowing that you're cutting with the possibility of actually making a really cool play. So that makes it that much more.
The outcomes soon started to emerge. Once they settled into a rhythm, the Fever became a lethal offensive force. Paul even acknowledged that when there is a genuine opportunity of making a play on every cut, the game feels considerably more thrilling. Clark offered her that opportunity. Clark was more than just a celebrity. She acted as a catalyst, changing Hull and other teammates' paths in real time. However, the more significant query persisted. Was Indiana's season genuinely altered by this energy boost? Only through the rigor of the upcoming weeks would the answer become clear.
Sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, you got the next one. I can count on her for keeping me confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the player that she is and the leader she is.
It wasn't in front of cameras or in the spotlight that made the difference. In practice, it took place in silence. Hull clarified that those meetings evolved into battles rather than just standard drills. Clark insisted that scrimmages turn into conflicts. She compelled the squad to immediately correct any plays that went wrong. No shortcuts, no excuses. Her unrelenting rivalry set the bar higher, and everyone else had to reach it. The coaches also observed it. Once sluggish practices suddenly gained momentum. A genuine team identity started to emerge from that fire.
Really awesome to get to know her as well because, she's a great person, but you have all these expectations put on her and our team has put on her. And fans have put on her. So to see her kind of be so mature in that transition, it's been really awesome. And I'm just really proud to, have her on the team. And
responsibility. That's a hard foul.
It was a really intimate trip.
The Indiana Fever had a history-making year. What was that like for you to be a part of that?
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to not only play in the WNBA, but to be on a team like the Indiana Fever. I've seen so much growth, not only on the team side, how we're performing on the court, but also the growth in fans. I mean, on the road, it felt like home games. We're playing in sold-out arenas that we have not played in the last 2 years before that. So, it's just really exciting.
For Hull, the transformation wasn't just about the team, it was a deeply personal journey.
All of it comes down to trusting the process, and part of that process is making sure that
Paul committed herself to honing her chops, pursuing consistency with her jumper, and honing the finer parts of her game. We practiced for a whole month during the Olympic break, she explained. I gained the confidence I required after seeing an increase in my shooting percentages. When the lights turned on, all of the effort put in the dark was rewarded. Hull was more than just another backup option by the second half of the season. She had solidified her position as a vital component of the Indiana offense.
I think one thing that our coaches did during that break, we had a full month of practice pretty much during the Olympic break, and they would put up every day after practice our shooting percentages from 2s and 3s during drills, during scrimmages, during everything. And I think that helped me because, some people would probably like, it's so annoying, whatever, but I personally...
Without Caitlin Clark, none of it would be possible. Her very presence distorts defenses, providing Hull with what amounts to a clear runway. According to Hull, the attention that Kelsey and Caitlin receive allows guys like myself to cut and look for opportunities. And those openings soon become buckets. Hull improved his shooting percentages. She became more self-assured and began to deliver when it mattered most. All of a sudden, Indiana stopped stumbling. It was erupting.
Numbers don't lie, unfortunately, and they're very drastic. My first 2 years, I was just so upset because I was putting in so much work, and my shooting percentages, I would granted get like 1 or 2 at the max, 3s a game. So it's hard to be super efficient when the pressure is really on for those couple shots. But the numbers don't lie. So it really allows you to look at improvements and really shoot for goals.
Their chemistry became unavoidable as the Fever continued to accumulate victories. Paul added, "We never turned on each other. That mentality and solidarity were what got us through the difficult times." Fans also sensed it. Once half-empty arenas abruptly filled up as social media was ablaze with videos, admiration, and rousing cheers for this revitalized Fever squad. Hull talked about how exciting those home games were. "We felt an energy we hadn't experienced in years when we performed for a sold-out audience. The extent of its significance is difficult to express in words." Once anxious for a winner, Indianapolis was buzzing once more for the first time in a long time.